In this episode of Rev It to the Max, we dedicate this program to dragboatreview.com. They're the ones reporting the need for speed here on the water, and Tim and Beverly does a great job of supporting racers all across the country. If you need to stay up on the latest news, please subscribe to their magazine at dragboatreview.com. Also, want to give a special thanks to Mark McLaughlin for sending me these photos here and allowing me to use them here on the podcast. Thanks, guys. Let's get started.
All right, in this week's episode of Rev It to the Max, we have Mr. Shane Westerfield. So, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good, man. Just staying busy out here in beautiful California and doing our thing and working on boats.
Excellent. So, tell us how you got started boat racing.
Well, my dad started back in late 70s, 79, 80. I think 1980 was his first boat race, and had a 73 Sanger runner bottom with a 454 stock iron Chevrolet in it, and one of them guys at the river that went 100 miles an hour just like everyone else, and showed up to the races, made his first run of blue water at an NGABA race and went 79 miles an hour. And so it kind of humbled him real quick. So anyways, he built a new boat, engines, ran all through the 80s. And so I was a little kid late. I was born in 87. So I started going to the races then and don't remember much, just more of the home videos and the Reading videos. And we raced everything from after that. He got me into go-kart. Once he got out of boats early 92, then I started go-kart racing, and then we started junior drag racing and still going to the river, seeing all the hot rod boats in the river. I started bugging. I'm like, hey, man, what's about this? What's this boat thing you used to do? We're kind of tell me all about it here. So went to a boat race in 2001, went to an NJBA race, and he knew Jim Banlin, who was running an alcohol flat. And before you know it, he bought one of his old boats back that he used to race against. And same thing, took it to the river and thought we went 100 and took it to the NJBA race, and it went 75 miles an hour. So we had to start the whole process over. And that's when I started learning about engines and what we got to do, and just kind of progressed from there. At 03, 04, started running blown gas, and then started running Pro Eliminator and obviously an alcohol flat, and just evolved, and haven't stopped since.
That's awesome. So, did you ever get to drive the alcohol flat, the capsule flat at all that your dad raced for many years?
I did. I got to make 2 attempts in it. I was 20 years old. I had no business being in one. As looking back now, I wouldn't want to get in one now, just what they do. But I had worked on the boat a bunch, did all the engine stuff, and it was a Christmas present that mom and dad gave me at the time. They're like, all right, you can go try it. So it was the first race of '08. We were testing in March, getting ready for Phoenix the next month. And dad the day before it was a quarter mile, went 661, 167 miles an hour. The air was like 200 feet above sea level. I mean, it was just killer. So I'm taking high speeds off. I'm peeling blower off of it. Like, I don't want to go that fast. Or I don't know what I got myself into here, but I got it to roll over and made a run. And it was my first time ever being on the rope. At 20 years old, was in an alcohol flat. Made it to half track. I went 401, like 142, 143 miles an hour. So it was exciting, but the boat was at half track and I was still at the starting line. Like, I just had no business being in it. So they knew right away. So years later, once we waited, got my own boat, and then I could do what I wanted to go do with it.
Right. So other than that, what did you actually start driving and racing pretty much full time? What kind of class was that?
So we started, we were doing the car thing for a while. We sold all the boat stuff end of '09, started car racing in 10. And then we hired someone to work on our funny car stuff in 2012. And he was kind of like in charge of running the program, had his own guys. So dad and I were kind of bored, to be honest. Like, we got a guy working on our stuff here, we're paying to go run it. What are we going to do? So let's put a boat together. So I went and ordered a new boat from Brian Dunn and got a trailer, and I found a long block online, and it took about a year, and I pieced it all together and took it to the river. And the following weekend, there was a race at Irvine. It was when Lucas went to Irvine Lake in 2013, which is about 10 miles from our house, which we never ever raced that close. I'm like, hey, because that was the whole point. The whole intention was we're going to build a boat for the river. We're not racing it. Yeah, we're not racing it. Well, a week after it's done, hey, there's a race in Irvine. All right. So show up, tech the boat, and I was the first one to make a run Saturday morning. Ken Dollar let me go first. And he goes, what's it going to run? I'm like, I don't know. It's a big block Chevrolet on gas. I have no idea. And I went 9. It was a quarter mile. I went 9, 12, 118 miles an hour. So I signed up for top eliminator and ran got 9 O's, 19s all week and had a blast. And then first round, the air got better and I wasn't paying attention. I only had one main jet. I had one blower, someone set of blower pulleys, and we were just there totally goofing off, having fun. And went 880 first round, 122. That was the quickest I'd ever been, or fastest I'd ever been at that point. So I was pretty excited and just kind of evolved from there. We really did it part time for about 5 years, on and off, because we were so deep in the cars stuff. So when there was an off weekend, if we go to a race, we'd go run our stuff. And end of 2016, Dad had bought a boat, and I had an Arius at the time, and just kind of kept evolving. And we showed up to an NJBA race. I'd been in NJBA in like 7, 8 years at that point, and we signed up for Blown Gas Flat, and we were the only two there. I go, what happened? This used to be a cool class. And so we kind of evolved that. I'm sure you guys have seen that now. We've had races up to 15 boats in that class now, and that's what was fun. Bracket racing's fun. I get it. People like that, but I'm more of a heads up. First one there, got to win. So when we were bracket racing the boat in the 9.0, 8.0 class, I was just there to go run my boat. But once we started the pro deal with the blown gas, that was really exciting for me, Dad. I'm like, all right, we got to pump this up, make it a big class. And so far it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I wanted to credit you with, or is saving and bringing that class back. Because I know, like you said, when you started, you had a couple boats there, and now y'all have made it into a class, and that is awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. We went through phases with, well, like you go through the alcohol hydro, you go through phases where there's 7, 8, 9 boats, and you go through, sometimes you're the only one showing up, and it's hard keeping people motivated. But this class seems to have kind of sustained itself. Just, it's not super expensive to go run it. You could pretty much have a real fast riverboat, take it there and be competitive. You can cut lights, and we've got sponsor money involved, and there's payouts per race. And like I said, stuff like you've been doing for SDBA and KDBA and everything else you've been doing with the alcohol hydro class. We've been just trying to help promote it. And now other guys in the class have been help promoting it. We don't have to do it as much now. And if I'm looking at my list for the March race coming up here, if everyone says they're coming, there's going to be 15, 16 blown gas boats. So that should be pretty fun.
Okay, and that's in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield next month.
For your March.
Parker this weekend. Yeah, go do some testing, and then I think there's 7 or 8 of us for this weekend, and then Bakersfield next month at NJBA.
All right. So, everybody, my girlfriend's parents came to their first boat race in Chandler. And that was one of the first places I went, was take them over to all the blown gas flats classes, just because it's a work of art. Back when I got into boat racing, 87, 88, going and helping my brother, we had the Pro Gas Hydro class out here on the East Coast, and everybody's boat was polished to the nines. Everybody was more of a show boat than when they went racing with it. And that's what that blown gas class looks like to me. Everybody's just got sanitary, perfect operation.
It is kind of turning into that, because you can still, it's not like running an alcohol boat where you're having to work on it every round and you're changing stuff, moving it around. It can still be a show boat that you go race. You got to run the valves once in a while and charge the battery, and that's about all it takes. It's not a lot, which that's why it's still fun. It can get screwed up real easy, but so far we've maintained it's just kind of everyone's staying level headed, not getting too out of control with it, and that's why it's still competitive and why it's so big.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there a cubic inch limit on y'all in that class?
Yeah, there is. It's I think 572 is the limit, and that really is about the only rule in the class. Unfortunately, at this point, we tried to get some other rules in there, but the problem, and I agree, then JB, they have there's not enough people there to enforce a lot of the rules that were trying to be implemented in the class. But so far, it's been all right. There's no one really running away with it too much, which is good, but as we all know, a heads up class needs rules. We don't need to be going as fast as we're going anyways. Honestly, a 580, 590 in an open boat, flat bottom especially, is fast. You're going 140 miles an hour, and it's like, well, are we pushing it? Yeah, NJBA has the rule of can't go over 145. So, but I'm like, if we turn it into that, I go, that's just another bracket class. You're going to have people wheel racing down there to make sure they don't go over 145. I go, I don't want that. I'd rather have rules that admit you can't even run 145. if we could have started this whole thing over, go back 2016, and if we all could have got together, big stock, open bottom, 670 ohm blowers, Vertex mags, little bird catchers on them, it'd have been perfect. You know, it'd have been totally perfect. Big block Chevrolets, but stuff evolves. I get it. So we are where we are. You know, Jim Whiteley with us built a Noonan engine with a Chuck 4 blower on it. You know, those guys out there running PSIs. There's guys out there Darren air blowers now. So it has evolved a little bit, but there's still the guy that won blown gas flat last year. It's 1977, cool TR1, blown carbureted, and wore us out. Cut lights, consistent. He got it done. So it's like, that was awesome. That was probably the best thing that could have happened for the class. You know, he never qualified number one. He was fifth or sixth each time, but just wore us out on Sundays. So, hey, that's perfect. It was great how that worked out, honestly.
All right. So speaking of that, what is the fastest you've been on water?
Fastest I've been on water is 144 miles an hour. I've been 145. I've been 561, 145. I did that. I think the ET was at ADBA and the mile an hour was at the SDBA race at Phoenix when we did that. So I didn't do it at the same time, but technically that's how fast I've been. Nothing like what you guys do, but that's what I've done so far. I'm proud of it.
And so tell us what you do for your day job and where's your shop at and stuff like that.
So we're down here in Southern California in Orange County. We my family business was into building trade show exhibits for 35 years. And when COVID hit, we had to shut all that down. They were in business for 34, 35 years. And so Dad and I needed something to do. So we opened up a little boat shop, and, you know, it's 4,000 square feet. And we will build a flat bottom from, well, not build the hull, but we'll get a brand new hull from, whether it's 3D, Bullet, you know, who wants to build one, customer goes and buys it. We'll rig it. We'll get it all anodized, polished, powder coat, or whatever you want to do. Build all the installation parts, set the V drive, do the blueprint, the bottom, ready to go. Flat bottom or hydro. We'll build you a motor if you want to go that far. We'll do the fuel system for it. We'll get it ready, plumbed, wired. I'll take it to the race if you want it, just depending on what level you want to take it to, you know. And there's not many people that really do that. I mean, in this area, at least, you know, there's guys that'll build you parts. There's guys that'll build you engines, obviously, but doing the whole package really isn't there. And there's still some people that are very involved with their own stuff. They'll bring it to me. They're like, hey, I just need some motor rails built. No problem. Bring it in. You know, all right, set the V drive for me, and, you know, I need new plates. No problem. Bring it over. Or just need an engine built. No big deal. Bring it over. So it kind of, we can do just one thing or the other, or we can do the whole package, whatever it is you're into. We obviously, if you see in our shop, we cater to the flat bottom world, into the blown world as well. You know, Joey Gross and them guys, they got the Mike Miller, they got the aspirated world covered. That stuff's way beyond what I know as far as, but to bring a blown big block Chevrolet or blown Hemi over, you know, we can handle that one over here. So it's fun though. You know, it's exciting to go to work each day and get to work with my dad. And we hired one kid to work with us in the back, got a secretary up front, and just trying to keep it professional. You know, as we know, the boating industry, that drag boat world, it's hard to find a real professional style shop. Like you drop your stuff off, feel comfortable doing it, and it gets done in a timely manner. It doesn't have a birthday there. You know, it's our philosophy here. It's a small shop. I can only keep 6 boats here at a time. So if it's just sitting there, I'm not working on it, I'm not making money. So it comes in, I work on it, and I get it out. And as soon as it's done, I'm calling you. Come get it. I'm done. Get it out of here. I got to bring the next guy in. So I think we've kind of gotten that reputation now, and we're not doing junk. It's nice stuff, and we're at the races, or we're at these events, these river regattas or lake regattas, where we're there if there's any problems or if people have issues, you know. So I think we're hands-on, not just here, but at the races or these other events as well. So I think people like that about us.
Okay. So if somebody need any parts or anything, y'all are part supplier as well. You can help them get that, or you're pretty much only doing your installs there and handling the parts that way.
No, we're building, you know, down pedals, and we're building V-drive braces, and I'll build you a set of motor rails. I can get you all the steering components. I can get you just about any part you need, whether I build it or if I need to get it from an outside source. Motor stuff, you know, we're dealers for Dart and Brodix, and an XRP dealer, and, you know, I can dealer for little fuel blowers, and I can get you just about anything. So that's kind of how we try to operate. It's a one-stop shop. You know, you need a set of lifters, I can get it done. You need a set of wheel bearings for your trailer, I can get that done too. Just call in.
Very interesting. So, is there a phone number they need to call, a website they need to go to? Tell us how to contact
we
you.
got the website, westerfieldmotorsports.com, and you got to become part of the T-shirt of the month club. There, we got a new T-shirt that comes out every month, and we feature different customers that we've done work for, and comes out each month. And actually got a new one coming out tomorrow that's I'm pretty excited about, and a little surprise in each package that's going out, so that's good. And yeah, you can buy parts on there. You can call us. All the phone numbers are on there, and check out what we do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the drag car racing world. So, when did you actually get your license to run a drag car?
That was back in 2010. Beginning of 2009, I was at a drag race, or end of '08 actually. I was at a drag race, and John Force had his daughters running a field class, and they had signposted they were looking for some guys to go work on their stuff. So I went up and I interviewed with Jerry Durian and Bernie Federley was sitting right there, and they hired me. All right, we'll try this out. Let's see if we like the car world here. And kind of got my feet wet with it to see what it was about, and it was all right. But, they were just so far advanced from what I had ever known from the boat world. I'm like, man, I don't know, this is our thing. And so I went, I think 6 or 7 races, and we just went back boat racing again. And end of '09, my dad had back surgery. I wasn't really ready to drive the alcohol flat. Like, well, what are we going to do? And my dad brought up, let's go look at a car, man. I go, man, I don't know. He goes, I bet if we do it our way, you would think different. I'm like, all right. He goes, how hard could it be? Everyone's got a funny car. We had no idea. We had no clue what we were doing. And went and bought a used car from Sean Bellamere. It actually wasn't that far from us. And sold the boat, sold parts off of it to be able to fund to go buy that and move some stuff around. And I think we bought the car in December, and I was making license passes in February. It happened fast, way faster than I was ready for, to be honest. But yeah, so first part of 2010 got my license, and we struggled. 2010 was a struggling year for us. We got my license fast. That was no problem. And then we ended up having a problem with the fuel tank, didn't know it, and I blew the blower off 7 runs in a row. And obviously a funny car sitting in front of you. I mean, it's blower off. It's a backfire. There's fire inside. It's breaking the body. I mean, it was a disaster. It was embarrassing every time we went somewhere. It was horrible. People were on the starting line just looking the other way when we would go. We were those guys. And so we got through that, found the problem, and got it fixed. And I think we won 1 round that year. And we were in Medford, Oregon. Got our first round win. So the car was older at the time. Like, we need a new car, we need a new body, we need some cylinder heads. So we found some sponsor help to come in, and new car, body, like I said, the heads. And we bought a blower, and started out the year 2011 kind of struggling a little bit, and then we got onto some help with some different guys, and then we started going rounds and went to our first final end of 2011 at Vegas against Bartone. So it took a little while. Going back to what my dad said, how hard could it be? Well, it's very difficult. But it was no different. We basically did nothing and hopped right into like an alcohol flat and had never been to the water. It was kind of the same situation, So we had a lot to learn, but a lot of people helped us. I know the car guys kind of get a bad rap for not being as nice as the boat guys and as friendly, but they are. They're just as cool. And they saw us struggling, and they came over to start helping us, and kind of went from there.
All right. So was it actually a fuel tank problem, or was it the fuel line leaving from the tank to the pump? I know we've had that problem a couple times in the boat where it start collapsing shut and bang the blower off of it. But y'all run hard lines pretty much in the car, don't you?
Yeah, it was a hard line. So what it was is the inlet going into the bottom of the tank. It goes inside the tank about 2 inches. Well, there's a strap that goes over top of the oil tank and the fuel tank. Well, we took the fuel tank out each time and cleaned it out, get all the alcohol out of it, and always put it back in the car. And when we would strap the tank down, we were strapping it down tighter and tighter and tighter. Well, there was a cross member bar that went on the inlet of the fuel tank. It was hitting it. So every time we tightened the tank down, it kept bending it up and then crushing it on the inside. So your 1.25 inch line, it was pinched down to about a 1/2 inch line on the inside. So it would leave the starting line fine and then just run out of fuel about 200 feet into the run, and just like hitting the fuel shutoff and just bang, and torch the heads. And well, it sounds like you've done it, so the damage it does. It's no fun. It gets expensive real quick.
What things happen and how they transpire to create big problems.
Oh yeah. Well, one little thing can ruin your day.
Okay. Then somewhere in the process, you got your fuel funny car license. and you ran some fuel deals for a while. Funny car.
Yeah, no, that was so. Dale Worsham was one of the guys who was helping us out a lot. The new car we bought actually came from Worsham, so he helped us with chassis setup and what to do, and so we always stayed in contact with him. And Dale goes all the way back. Him and Chuck, they were boat racer guys. You know, they hung out with Art Hendy and they hung out with Rod Corning, and they were a part of that. So they had known the boat thing. So it was kind of had that in common. So Dell was always had a fuel car sitting there, and he would be tuning other people's cars or driving other people's cars, and he always had a car. And you kind of wanted to keep it out there, keep it running, because he had a couple still full-time guys over at his shop, and he had his dad sitting there. So I'm at a high school football game watching my brother-in-law play on a Friday night in September, and I'm hanging out watching the game, and Worsham calls me. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "I'm at a high school football game." He goes, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I go, "Well, I got this, I got that." He goes, "Well, if you could cancel it, I need you to come drive my car tomorrow in Bakersfield." I'm like, What? He goes, "Don't ask questions, just come out." No problem. All right. So I tell my dad, I go, "Grab my gear. Let's go. We're going to Bakersfield in the morning." So I grabbed one of my buddies, Greg Vanderwindy, and I go, "I need your help." So we took off, went out to Bakersfield, and it was kind of a conflict for him because he was driving Coletta's car, but it didn't look good for him driving that car. He had all the DHL stuff on. He goes, "I just need you in the car. We're trying to figure out an electrical problem." I'm like, he goes, "But at the same time, you can get your license while you're doing this." I'm like, "No problem. This will be cool." Made my first run. It was probably 2:00 in the afternoon, hot summer day. Got it down there. Come back, service the car. We're getting ready to go back up. It's almost dark, and we had a fuel leak or something, so they shut us off. So we go back, and it was a Saturday night nitro event, which it's a local deal they do in Bakersfield, but all the nostalgia cars come out. It's almost as good as like the March meet. I mean, they get 25, 30 of those guys lined up. So they had them lined up for Saturday night nitro. We come back, fix our leak. We go, they tow me up. They go, "We're going to let you go first. Go make your pass." So it's my second attempt in a fuel car. It's a night run. The stands are packed, ready to go. I'm like, all right, let's try it. Once again, no business being in it. Did the burnout back up. And I remember I hit the gas and everything lit up. Well, it was the header flames coming out the side of the body. And it just, I'm like, wow. And I'm doing one of these looking around. I'm like, get your head back in the game, your man driving down there. And Bakersfield lit up real good on the racetrack. But as soon as you go through the lights, it is dark. Like just shut your eyes. So I go down there and I lit up the throttle and dark. I mean, I can't see nothing. I'm like, man, I don't know if I did good or bad. I don't know if I hit anything. I didn't know where I was going. And I went a 421 at 305. And so I'd started, but I had to make one more run to complete my license. And we ended up going to Vegas to finish it. Because then at that point, he was smart. He got me hooked. He goes, "All right, now if you want to keep going, you got to kind of, here's the steps you got to pay for, this and that." So I'm calling every relative, every friend I've ever talked to. I'm begging, borrowing, trying to find money, and so I finished my license, and then we got to go to Pomona and go race. And Friday night session, I'm up against Ron Capps, and ready to go. And I'm like, man, I'm just in awe. This is so cool. The stands are packed. Last race of the year, like I said, I got Cap sitting over there. I'm like, oh man. Hit the gas, and I look over, and he's right out the window, and I'm just looking at him. I go, "This is so bitching." Like I wasn't even focused what I was doing, and the thing ended up, it threw a rod out, got oil into the tires. I'm up over the center line, hit the cones, and just went from so cool to just not good, not good in a hurry, and blew a hole in the front of the body and burned my fire boots off. No one got hurt. It was all good, but I'm like, man, I went from being so bitching to not so bitching. It was bad, but it all worked out. We got to come back the next day. I didn't end up qualifying, but they ended up doing, I think, 3 more races the next year. And same thing. Dell actually had a problem with the fuel tank. The shelf had collapsed in the tank and was blocking the fuel inlet, and it would run out of fuel going down there, and it would burn up. So he asked me to go drive it in Phoenix the following year. I said, all right, let's go. So I remember he come to the shop, and he goes, all right, I'm going to try it. I want to find the problem. So don't worry. Your first run, you're just going to go halfway. All right, cool. So they pushed the car into the shop, and they found the problem with the tanks. He called me. He's all excited. He goes, "I found the problem, man." All right, cool. He goes, "Don't worry. Still going to go halfway to make sure." Okay. So we do the warm-up. Fuel flow looks good. Fuel pressure is better than it ever was. And he goes, "Man, go 3/4 and don't pull the chutes. So make sure we get in." Okay. We get up there. I'm first pair, Friday midday session, Phoenix racetrack. And he looks into the body. He goes, "If it feels good, go all the way." I'm like, what happened to half track here? And I had a plan in my head here. So I did went all the way, went like it went fast. It went 4:12, 4:10 or something like that at over 300. I forget, like 3:01, 3:02. And yeah, I got qualified and it worked out. It was good. He fixed the problem. He was right, but man, I was puckered up going into the first light. I'm waiting for an explosion, you know. Yeah, it was
Oh
crazy.
yeah, definitely. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, yeah. Ouch. So it's been a couple of years since I've seen you in a fuel car. So have you renewed your license, or is time to renew your license, or are you going to let that go, or what's the deal?
I think since I've been active, and I renew it every year. If you stay active out there racing, I think they keep it going. So I renew it, like I said, every year. I just renewed it again. He actually did let me run the car a couple years ago in a qualifying session at Kansas. I was there running my alcohol car. Same thing. He just needed someone to make a run, and I made the run. I got to keep my license current, so that was a couple years. So I still should be good. So phone hasn't rang yet though for a phone call for me to go drive one, but I'm ready though, just in case.
All right. So then you teamed up with Rick Jackson. Y'all started running an alcohol funny car, hot and heavy, and won the championship in what, 18? When
We
did you win
actually
the
won a
championship?
championship with my car, yeah, when I was still doing our own program in 2017. 2018, we were running our
Okay.
car, and I had a couple of real good sponsor guys out of Houston, Texas, and they were pretty much funding our whole program at the time, or a good majority of it. And he ended up passing away midway through the year. So it kind of slowed our program down as far as financially. And well, so we got through the year. We ended up finishing second that year. And Rick and I had been friends for a while at that time. We had been talking. And so the opportunity came up because you want to drive my car for 19. I go, yeah. And I had my whole operation. So I had my stuff there ready to go. The hardest part was telling my team, I go, hey guys, we're not racing anymore. So they actually went and found another team to go race with. So that was cool. So they found a team. I found a ride over here. So it all kind of worked out. And we raced hard in 19. I think we finished third that season. And then in 20, we did the first two races, and then lovely COVID happened and basically parked everything. And then Rick got sick. So Rick had been fighting with fought cancer all of 20. And then in 21, we came back to start racing, but just limited because Rick was still getting better and going through chemo and whatnot. So we did, I think, 7 or 8 races, a couple runner-ups. Then in 22, the plan was to hit it hard. His cancer was in remission at the time. It was all good. And we did the first 5 races, and we won 3 of them and runner-up at the other 2. So it was like a killer start. And then Rick's cancer came back. And so he goes, I'm parking the car, and he goes, just financially, it's a lot right now. I said, I get it. So the crew chief had left at the time, and the car was sitting there. We're leading the national points. We're leading the divisional points. I'm like, we got to do something here, guys. So Jim Whiteley actually came in and bought half the operation and kind of got us back on the road to get going. And so Rick stayed home and kept going through his chemo. And me and 3 other crew guys took the car and went to the Kansas Regional, we won. Went to the Kansas National event, we won. Went to Brainerd National event, we won. Went to Indy semifinal, went to Charlotte, we runnered up, and we were on it. The points were like they were ours. I mean, to the point the wives and the girlfriends were buying dresses for the banquet. We were looking good. And then I dropped the ball. We had 4 races in a row where we were qualifying okay and get up for eliminations of either second round or first round. And I started red lighting, and a couple were close, a couple weren't at all. I was just screwing up, and long story short, I ended up losing the championship by like a round at the end of the year. We ended up finishing second, and Rick had been second so many times. I just felt horrible for him just because it's like we had it. It was right there. We had it. Like I said, I dropped the ball, we lost it, and then unfortunately, as most people probably saw, Rick's cancer came back real strong, and he ended up passing away a couple of weeks ago. So right now, they got a service all planned and trying to figure out what we're going to do with the car. Jim Whiteley does own half of it, but it's kind of like limbo. I'm like, well, just let's see what you guys want to do. It makes the most sense. So as of right now, we don't really plan on doing much car racing, if any. So it means more boat racing, I guess, at this point. So I'll be doing something. I just don't know how much car racing we'll be doing.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jim, I think he talked about building alcohol hydro last year. I think that was a rumor that he was going to possibly do that. So Any more thought to that, on his end?
So it's funny. So Jim Whiteley I've known for a long time, and I met him back when we started car racing. He was one of the guys early in the years that were super nice to me, and he's just a cool guy. You just want to drink beer with, you want to go to a bar with, you want to party with. He'll stay up all night with you. He doesn't care. He just loves having a good time. So 2013, I invited him out to the river, and he's checking it out. He goes, "This is cool." So I'm kind of showing him a little place over in the corner, and he goes, "Yeah, this is nice." The one was for sale, and about a month later, he goes and buys a big old mansion on Parker Strip upriver from us. And I'm like, all right, I get it. This is cool. So he bought the place in Parker. So every time there was a Parker boat race, he'd go check it out. And he would just sit in the cabana, and him and Rick Jackson be there. They'd be drinking beer, and they'd watch me go by because they really only knew me and a couple other guys. And he always dug it, always was into it. So I brought him out. I told him we were racing in Phoenix in 21. Said, I go, Whiteley, you need to come out, man. Come check this out. Bring your motorhomes because we were all racing in Pomona. I go, leave from Pomona, just go straight to Phoenix. So I thought it was just him. Well, he brought 4 motorhomes. He brought all of his crew guys, his family. They all come rolling in. So they're drinking beer, watching boats go. So he knows Billy B real well. Billy B knows Kevin Kinsley, and they were all talking. And so I'm talking to Jim. Jim goes, "I want to build one of these." All right. So then Billy gets involved with Kevin. "Yeah, I want to build one of these." Well, Kevin thought it was an alcohol hydro, and Jim thought, "Well, I'm building what Westerfield has. I want one of those blown gas boats." And it kind of got confused, and rumors started spreading around. But long story short, Jim was going to build a boat like we had, is what he wanted to go do. So he kind of had something to we could talk about, have kind of the same combination, basically. So Jim ended up building. He called me. He goes, "All right, build me one." I go, "What do you want?" He goes, "What you have. I'll send you a motor." Like, it was no big deal. "Okay, I'll build your boat, Jim. No problem." He's never even seen the boat. I love the guy. I talk to him almost every day. He's never even seen it. So we're taking it this weekend to Parker to go run it. He goes, "Yeah, go run it. Go run the shit out, man. Go have fun." No problem. So we've taken it
Wow.
2 or 3 times, and yeah, it's fun. We have a good time with it. Just like I said, he hasn't even seen it in person. Then he sold his place in Parker. We're finally racing at his home track, and he's not even going to be there. So I'll get him out to a race this year. I think we're talking about doing a Texas race. I think we're all trying to go to San Angelo. So he says he'll try to make that one.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. You think you're trying to do the first San Angelo or the one in September?
It'd be the first one. The one in June, I think, is the one we're talking about, because it gives us, I think that gives us three races at NJBA, and then it gives us a month off, and then we could go to you guys. And I've talked to probably 4 or 5 guys in the class, and they all seem interested. If I could get 6, 7 boats, even 8, that'd be real cool. If I get 8 boats, that'd be the best. All of us to go there. And because David Carroll's super nice. He's when we came to Phoenix, he parked us all together, and he had winner's purse for us. It was cool. So he's treated us right. So I'm like, all right, I need to return the favor. We got to go out there a little ways and go do this. So the class agrees. It's just most of the guys are up in Northern California, so it'd be a little drive for them. And they're like, "Dude, it's hot in Texas." I go, "It's hot in California where you're at. Just suck it up and let's go racing." So I'm working on them all right now as we speak.
All right, good deal. Yeah. So, tell us your most embarrassing story racing, whether it be boat racing or car racing.
Which one? There's so many. Oh man, I wish you would have pre-warned me on this one here. All right, I'll tell you a good one in boats. We were up there. It was first round of qualifying in September of 2019, and I was tuning my boat. Had a couple other boats there, and I was first pair. And all the boats are on the rope, and they always kind of let us gear up. So then all the people that there's a lot of people that still like watching blown gas. They're all lined up. Like I said, I'm first pair. My family's out there. I got sponsored people out there. Obviously, Dad, the crew on the sidelines. I see them all. My wife hadn't been to a race in a couple of years. She shows up. Got my newborn sitting there. Get things started, and I remember I hit the gas, and the thing kind of started to peter out. I'm like, that's weird. And I go to let off, and all of a sudden it just took off, and it just jumped the whole boat straight up out of the water. And I'm not known for doing that. I'm just get it down there, A to B, just go down. I'll hop the whole boat out. I go, wow, let me try this again. And I did it. I did the whole thing again, blow it out, corkscrew it sideways up, landed up on the steering wheel, sit back down, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what was that? Anyways, ended up having a wrong main jet by about 20 sizes. Put the wrong one in. It was just super rich. It wouldn't take a throttle and petered out on me. So that was a good one. Like I said, everyone's sitting there. I come back and they're just looking at me. I go, "Don't say a word. I'll fix this." Put the right main jet in and went right back out Q2, went number one. So it all worked out. So that was good. I'm trying to think of a good
That's
car one.
awesome.
No, I don't know if I have what would be the most embarrassing one. Probably red light when a guy next to you smokes a tire. That's pretty embarrassing. Done that a couple times, but I don't know anything offhand.
So back up a little bit. Cutting a light in a boat and cutting a light in a car. Which one do you think's harder, the boat or the car?
Boat all day long because I haven't figured it out yet. I've been
Really?
doing it long enough. I still suck at it. I can't get it. And you think about it, the consistency of the rope sagging, wind, clutch slipping. I can't cut 2-0 lights in a row to save my life. Andy, I've lost on. I think I lost. How many races in a row was it? I think I lost 5 races in a row on hole shots in the boats. I mean, it shows you I have competitive classes, which is cool, but I lost on that many hole shots in a row. I can't do it. I'm a mess. So I will take car racing, cutting the light any day over a boat.
Wow. So I guess in a flat bottom, you do have a lot of variable in how much down pedal you have in it, and that has a lot to do with your reaction time too. I would assume. I've never driven a flat. So.
Oh yeah, you can bring it out. As you carry the nose up. Yeah, you can fly it over the beam. You don't mean intentionally to do it, but if you can consistently do it 3 runs in a row, cool. And then the one time you doink it and you run the nose into the beam,
Yeah.
then you're screwed. So it's almost like driving bad every time. Just do it consistently every time, and you're almost better off than trying to be the hero and fly it over the beam.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So any sponsors you want to thank while you're on the show?
Oh man, just CP Carrillo's been with me for a long time. They've been with me. I think we were one of the first ones to bring them into the boat side back in 06. We were running the Pro Eliminator, and then we got them going the aluminum rod deal. We were the first one to try that in the car side. So that definitely, CP and NGK's have helped me out for a while now, and Lucas did for a long time, obviously. And yeah, that's about it right now. We've been making a lot of our own stuff, so we haven't needed all the sponsor stuff. Well, Nick Rose Insurance helped us out this year a little bit. That was pretty exciting. So hopefully get him back this year. So yeah, that's about it right now.
All right, man. It's been an honor having you on the show. I can't thank you enough for doing this for me. And again, congratulations and pat on the back to you for getting that blown gas flat class back out there and having us a lot of fun to watch all those guys run.
Oh, for sure, man. Thanks for having me on here, and what you're doing for drag boat racing is awesome. And there's a lot of new and exciting things. Looks like it's coming out this year, so it's going to be fun, and we're glad to be a part of it.
Hey, I want to personally thank you for tuning in to this week's show. Please give it a like. Please give it a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I really want to get 1,000 likes on YouTube this week. So, again, I can't thank you enough. And also, if you want to keep up on the latest news in the boat racing world, check out dragboatreview.com. Special thanks again to Mark McLaughlin for sending these photos here. I'll put a link down below somewhere here on the screen where you can visit his website and purchase drag boat photos. I know he shoots a lot of stuff there in Bakersfield and around. So thanks again for tuning in.